So here at the Geek Legion of Doom, we like to review some random movies sometimes, and this may be one of the most random movies I've ever talked about. We are talking about Hong Gil-dong versus The Terminator. Now, you've probably never heard of this movie. I hadn't until I discovered it on YouTube, and basically this is a Korean rip-off of The Terminator that incorporates a Korean legend as well. So Hong Gil-dong basically is a sort of Robin Hood character, basically the Korean version of Robin Hood. He's a legend of years past, and essentially, just like Robin Hood, he robbed from the rich and gave to the poor. So, what better match? Oh yes, it's The Terminator. So this is a film from the early 90s from Korea, and the thing is here, I can find virtually no information about this movie. It's available on YouTube. They've kind of cut it into sort of like into portions essentially, and it's all in Korean and there's no subtitles. So reviewing this is kind of difficult because you pretty much have to guess the plot. But basically it kind of starts off with Hong Gil-dong's sort of legend, so to speak, and it kind of gives you a little bit of an idea of this sort of mythical sort of martial artist, essentially, who was on the side of good. Essentially, he's a kind of a somewhat magical character who appears in modern day, although I say modern, I mean we're talking the early 90s, to kind of fend off bad guys, and he's a sort of like wire fu type character with a kind of like a bendy sword, basically. And then about sort of 2/3 of the movie into the film, we're kind of introduced to this Terminator character, who is this kind of quite a big Korean dude with the leather jacket and sunglasses, with a massive mullet. And essentially these kind of guys have the inevitable sort of clash, and there's I think it's like a family or something. They sort of get caught in the middle, basically, and this kind of Hong Gil-dong is essentially sort of defending them, and that's pretty much the movie. I think there's some sort of gangsters and things as well thrown into the mix. It's a kind of a bit of a bizarre film. It's not all that long. It's only runs for around about an hour, and because I can't really understand it, it's kind of difficult to tell you too much about the plot. But it's an interesting idea, because obviously this is one of these sort of unofficial things that you've seen from foreign countries kind of aping Western films. You've seen like the famous sort of Turkish Star Wars, and basically now we have the sort of the Korean Terminator, and I believe this isn't even the only Korean Terminator movie that's out there as well. But this one is clearly modelled after, trying to ape that kind of look that Arnold Schwarzenegger popularised, basically. And the guy's like a big dude. He's kind of wearing the same clothes. He's riding a motorbike. He's kind of got the sort of a similar kind of hairstyle aside from the mullet. It's kind of party in the back and business on top, so to speak. So it's kind of a funny film because it really doesn't make a lot of sense from what I can sort of gather, and the actual fight scenes themselves are pretty poor. Now the martial arts on here, and there's some quite impressive acrobatics and sort of moves, but the actual fight choreography is actually very poor. I mean, we see a lot of these kind of the older sort of martial arts films sort of coming out from for the East, and there's a lot of fantastic martial arts on display here, and while I have no doubt that the people involved in this are very good at that, the way it's filmed is poor. I mean, there's the actual, when we see the sort of contacts and with people fighting, it's very poorly staged, and there's they use a lot of like wire work here, but it's just very obvious and kind of it looks kind of distracting. And the actual crux of the thing here is going to be the inevitable face-off between the two title characters, and it's very poor and not worth the wait, unfortunately. And the actual Terminator character, when we kind of first see him, he's like he acts like a Terminator, pretty much unstoppable, defeating kind of loads of kind of random hoods and that sort of thing. But when we see the fight between him and Hong Gil-dong, it's kind of over pretty quick, and the Terminator seems to put up very kind of little resistance and just kind of goes. The effects and stuff are obviously very cheap and very kind of lowbrow, shall we say. The sound effects are hilarious. But it's just a bizarre film. I just thought I would mention this one, and I thought I'd check it out, obviously, because we've got obviously the new sort of Terminator movie out. But unless I would say don't bother watching it. You can find it on YouTube, as I say, but it's obviously in Korean. But unless you're just a sucker for punishment, I'd probably avoid it, or just out of pure morbid curiosity, I'll give this movie a 3 out of 10 because it's just kind of funny to watch. Anyway, I'll I'll leave the link in the description below just for the kind of the initial portion of it. You'll be able to see the rest on there. Anyway, thanks for watching, and bye for now.